fan to home and na obia behu yang kodi.
And welcome to Ghana's most sought after morning show. This is Good Morning Africa on Pan-African Television. You're watching us live from our studios 48 Swanika Street, Abilimpi, Accra. We also watch across 46 African countries, some parts of South America and Europe. Welcome to the newspaper review segment with me, Ohemaa, Achiaa, Agyekum. As we have tabled some topics for discussion, we expect that you also put in your submission, your addition, your comments and your concerns on the number that will be displayed on the screen. Please note that the number is strictly for text and WhatsApp and not for calls. Text and WhatsApp and not for calls. I'll be reading it in the course of our conversations, but I'll be introducing our guests. Before I do that, let me share with you the topics for discussion this morning. This morning, as usual, we'll be taking a look at what's happening across Africa, and as our radar fell on Namibia, and it says that Namibia's opposition to reject election results citing irregularities. We'll also be looking, coming down here to Ghana, special voting in the Eastern region, Western region, rescheduled exercise to go ahead in only 14 regions. And we'll also be looking at an interesting story that has been put forward by the Inside newspaper. It says that state capture by Nanado. Is the dog that born June 4th pregnant again? Question mark. This is a question by Dr. Gamel Nasser Adam. And finally, we'll also be looking at some of the government's outputs. It says that 20 facilities begin free dialysis treatment as government has disbursed 200 million Ghana cedis to these facilities for the dialysis treatment to commence. And these are many more that will be, talking about on the show, but these are the four we'll be focusing on. So without much ado, I introduce my guests and we move on with our conversations. But do be reminded that you can be a part of the conversation by sharing your thoughts, your comments, your messages on the number displayed on the screens. This morning, I'm in the esteemed company of Mr. Derek J. of the NDC. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning.
How's it going? We are counting down. The major countdown is on. And how is it for you and your party, or you personally?
Well, I think it's been great so far, so very, very good. But the umbrella, always remember.
It's here.
It's here. Yeah. We are trying to ensure that all the other parties, and I'd not like to call them small parties, parties, movements, independents, feel safe enough to come under the umbrella.
Right.
And so today I'm in a little bit of yellow in solidarity with my brother, so they can feel comfortable to come home, where there's the possibility of taking Ghana to the promised land. We had a walk over the weekend in Dansuman. It was massive. I was in La also on Thursday. Similar walk. There's been walks everywhere, and they are mostly simultaneous, so it's not like crowds are being rented all over the place. Spontaneous walks. You should have seen Kumasi. Very overwhelming. And I think that if the crowds are anything to go by, I think not only will the NDC be doing very well, but the NDC and the movement can garner at least 50% of the Ashanti votes together if we combine our resources. And I would encourage that alliance to be formed very solidly. Yes.
All right, so I'm not only here with Mr. Derek J, I'm also here with our Monday favorite, Solomon Owusu of the Movement for Change. Good morning. It's a movement.
It's a movement. Stronger and bigger than COVID. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Derek, we have 5 days to elections.
5 days.
Yes. So all the
That day is not part of it.
that
so
day is
let's barely 5 days.
yes, by 5 days. We just want to encourage every Ghanaian to stay focused, stay true to what you have experienced the last 4 years. All the hardships, all the cry, bickering. The importance of it will have to reflect on voting the last on the 7th of December. My candidate, Mr. Achiaa, this morning is in the Western region. He's going to Takwa, Tibo, Koso, Agona, and Takrade, and then we'll be done and back to Central region. So he's crisscrossing, and we know that just like the Methodist hymn 608 says, the end will surely just be the glory.
But what's
to
it
God.
looking like for the movement?
So
Putting together all your events, all your campaign, rallies, concerts, the one that happened at the Legon City Mall, the youth, coming on board. How does it look like?
I have been overwhelmed by the levels of participation and enthusiasm with our work. It's not easy to fight the two dominant parties, but we have been able to stand toe-to-toe with them and then fighting, and we believe the message has sunk so well. From our field operations, we believe that come December 7th, your TV, you will write President-elect Mr. Alan Chomanti. And my brother will definitely have a role to play in our administration. Because it's a government of national unity. I will be very surprised that any individual in this country will have a problem with government of national unity. That means you are a selfish person. You get my point. So they are with us. The umbrella is with us. They have had opportunity 16 years, LBP 16 years. Let a candidate that has that well without to organize this country together. I mean, together. The country is too much divided, polarized.
So that's the general.
All right.
So that's why
we are expecting our third guest. We are expecting our third guest, Dr. Marazuk, who will be joining us shortly. But without much ado, let us just go straight into our first topic for discussion, which is our African story. And the African News Network has captured that Namibia's opposition to reject election results, citing irregularities, says that Namibia's political landscape has been thrown into turmoil as the country's main opposition party, the Independent Patriots for Change IPC, has refused to recognize the results of the 2024 general election. Panduleni Itula, the IPC's presidential candidate, has accused the Electoral Commission of Namibia of gross mismanagement and electoral malpractice, claiming the process was fraught with glaring and undeniable irregularities. The election, which began on Wednesday and was extended through Saturday in several regions, faced significant logistical challenges. Reports of ballot shortages and malfunctioning electronic devices used for voter registration led to prolonged voting periods, particularly in remote areas of the country. Now, Namibia, with its vast geography and population of approximately 3 million, struggled to manage the logistical complexities of the election, leading to frustration among voters and opposition leaders alike. Now, let's come back to the studio and engage our guests. Now, let's look at it in a way that speaks of Africa. Now, it has become one too many that our electoral processes are characterized with irregularities, corruption, mismanagement, among other things. Recently, leading up to this period where we'll be voting on the 7th, you hear stories about, missing BVDs here in Ghana, Electoral Commission. It's just cumbersome. What do you make of this, especially as we are in this material moment as Ghanaians ahead of December 7th?
Well, I think that first, good morning to your viewers. I should have done that much earlier, except for the fact that magnanimity got the better of us. Yeah, some of these similarities that you're drawing in terms of the Namibia and Ghana Electoral Commission or election period I think that for Ghana, some of the things are not accidental. They are deliberate. And I think also that there's some crass incompetence on the part of Jean Mensa, which precedes this election. In fact, her very first exercise when she assumed office included some by-elections, and then also the, the referendum on the district assembly election. And these were the hallmarks. They were even overvoting in some instances. I mean, everything under the, sun was done wrong. And so we've looked on that time. We've looked on in the by-elections at the Yawaso, which recorded a very low turnout because as the one in charge of the elections, and therefore election security being part of her, portfolio, even though the IGP was responsible, much wasn't done. Then you come all the way to 2020, we saw instances of, cheating, deliberate cheating, calculation errors, multiple results declarations. And then we've come again now, we've never reached even the voting point. Just getting the materials together has been fraught with a lot of, more practices and also deliberate manipulations. There are, shall I say, reluctance to have their register audited vis-a-vis the allowing their district officers to transfer votes. And so there were so many things before even these missing bags and the tags. Sorry, not missing bags, but like missing, how do you call them? The seals.
The seals.
And then now we are hearing about ballots, shortage in NDC strongholds. Now we are hearing even some of the ballot papers have been taken outside of the printing press. So if you are able to smuggle just one, that's all you need. With technology now, you can just duplicate nearly anything. And sometimes our brothers in the sub-region, I don't want to mention which country, are credited with doing even better counterfeit. I mean, counterfeit that looks even better than the original stuff. And so if one lays hand on a ballot paper, can replicate it. We've also heard of other things, but I think it's a little premature to talk about it now. We are hopeful that in due course it will come to light. Our guys are really having their eyes on the ball. Mane, the Tanko Computer, and Madi and their team across the country are doing exceptionally well. We have our security setup also in place, and we're monitoring. We're always a few steps ahead of them. We'll not put out everything we know, but we'll make sure that there will be no cheating in this election, so that we wouldn't have a situation where we would have to have
the opposition,
the so-called rejection of election results. My fear, however, is that today, even as we start, I'll call it the pilot of the election, which is the special vote, which has a smaller number. I've been to the Danspan police station, I've seen what's going on, it's fine. But elsewhere, you can't say the same, especially in some regions where they are not even participating. So you've postponed that election. Don't be surprised that on the 7th, it is possible to borrow.
This is possible, eh?
It is possible. That,
it's doable.
No, they are in league with them, so I say it is possible that they will ensure that some regions will not vote. They have done it before, 2020. Remember what they did to the South?
So, yeah.
Midnight, or let's say on the eve of this, and they told them, hey, you can't do this. Already their ballots have not been printed. Already we are hearing about some special voting on Thursday and Friday. We are hearing about the distraction of some ballot papers. Between all of this chaos, a lot can happen. And why this timing? Now, the other thing also that is interesting is that they're able to burn ballot papers at this time. At whose cost? We're able to print new ballots at this time, and we have time. So why didn't we take Ekwadonko off and print ballots that would allow for sport ballots to occur on the D-Day? The thinking of this is easy, unless you can't think like a criminal. But if you try to think like a criminal, you can see where they are going with all this. They want to steal the election. They are definitely in cahoots with the MPP. In fact, They are MPP to start with. Jimensa.
You are saying this on authority.
Bosman is the TESCON, is a patron for University of Ghana. Achiaa or whatever. Is there Achiaa or Achiaa? He is also the TESCON patron for one of the universities in Western region. We know them. I mean, they are not people from Mars. They are MPP. You understand? And they have been put there by Akufo-Addo to do exactly what they are doing. In any case, since 2021, January 21st, there's been an election, a petition for the removal of, what's his name? Her name, Jimensa. Why has Akufo-Addo not acted on it? Because she
But what has she done to be removed? Is there a cause for her removal?
Well, there were serious charges, about 10. I was part of the people who petitioned, myself and Electoral. Now, 10 of the charges included procurement breaches, that which was used in removing Charlotte Osei. If it's not serious, why was Charlotte Osei removed? The SAL thing was part of it. Election security, the killing of 8 Ghanaians, innocent Ghanaians at polling stations and elsewhere. Some even outside of the polling area. There were also the West Wogon violence thing. There were serious charges, including collusion, bias, and so on. Remember, Bosman Asari, for example, said that the NDC was an existential threat to Ghana's democracy, and he was still opposed. I mean, we cited very serious, things. Sometimes the MPP at the time, John Boyd was the general secretary. He would come and announce something, and then the next moment, word for word, that is what the Electoral Commission statements were. I mean, who writes for the Electoral? It's like as though they share notes. It's one company. You understand? MPP Company Limited, and then one wing being assigned to the EC. So I mean, why hasn't he acted on it? They've been silent on it for how many years? 2021 to date, 3 years. Meanwhile, we saw the speed with which they dispatched Charlotte Osei. And I want to quote something that KSM said, and I think we should always inform ourselves whilst we go on these discussions. What if? What if MPP was in opposition, and what was happening right now was being done to them? What do you think will happen? Do you think
they're going to take action?
And then the military comes and says that I'm happy now they're saying they're not going to participate in anything to do with the elections, because those who say they will beat people, I'm sure that you ask the question, what if he comes and the people overwhelm him and he gets lynched? What will happen? So, by and large, I think that Africans are the same. Human beings are the same everywhere. Even in America, we've seen the elections. So let us not assume that nothing can go wrong in Namibia or nothing can go wrong here. But by and large, we want the best for every country that is conducting an election, because violence is the last thing you want, and it wouldn't allow for progress to happen. We are hopeful that the lessons that are being learned from what has happened already in sister country Namibia will not be the end result of the 2024 election, because we are definitely not going to the courts.
Right.
We are not doing any election petition. We are finishing everything at the polling station. We have our security intact. We have our lawyers ready on standby. We have our agents trained and primed. We have our prompters. We are set. I can assure you, we'll even have ambulances on standby. We are prepared for any eventuality, because we are definitely winning. The wind of change is blowing, and it's blowing very hard. I listened to an audio of former President Jerry John Rawlings. I'm sure over the weekend you've seen there's an audio going around, and he seems to be talking from his grave about happenings today. I don't know when that was recorded, but if it was...
How can we record someone who's been dead for this long?
You should hear
speaking.
No, he was spot on everything that he's saying, which is happening now, unless it's AI, I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
You think it's AI?
Yeah.
Well, I grant you that, but it was spot on. And I think that everybody needs to listen.
It must be AI.
Yeah, even if it's AI, everything is spot on. And so it's kind of chronicled every infraction or everything that is going wrong in this election cycle. And I think that the security agencies, the election people should take their pens and start taking each one and making sure that they have countermeasures to forestall these things, escalating to a situation where it will go out of control, because we are winning, and together with our alliance members, we will
Now,
rule.
so let me come to you. I have a few messages to be reading in the course of our conversation, but you can send your messages and be a part of this conversation on the number that has been or will be displayed on the screen. But Mr. Aderekeje makes mention of the fact that all the irregularities leading to the general election are intentional and they are not by accident. Do you agree?
The posture of the Electoral Commission and the Commissioner specifically has not been encouraging. You know, in the last days, we are beginning to see the wisdom in some of the issues that were raised in the early days that the Commission wanted to poo-poo everybody. Now it's bare in our faces. It's flying in our faces that even today, special voting, some areas are not going to be able to take part. Can you imagine? Now we are having to withdraw or recall ballots in Eastern and Western region to ban them. The question is, who is going to bear the cost of it? Was the problem coming from, or is the problem coming from the printing house, that is a check printing point or whatever, or whose fault is that? And how was it that, for instance, with the latest issue, in spite of the presence of security cameras, Bureau of National Investigation Bureau, National Security, the police, and even the Electoral Commission, we still have this issue. Then clearly, it means something is fundamentally wrong. And it will be fundamentally wrong because if you analyze statements leading to this election coming from the New Patriotic Party and the posture of the Electoral Commission, you would not be wrong in concluding that given the opportunity, the Electoral Commission will rig this election for the New Patriotic Party. That is the only hope available to the NPP. And that is why I find it very, very interesting that the Electoral Commissioner would allow herself to be engaged or involved in something that can plunge this country into perpetual chaos. What was the background checks that went into the selection of these printing houses? Remember Western, North, and OT, at a point we had to change the vendor, Yasaku or so, because according to them, he didn't have the capacity. At what point did the Electoral Commission get to realize that the Yasaku company did not have the capacity to engage in what the job that they gave to them? You remember the voter region incident that they say the printing were the ballots were not following serial numbers, so they had to record them and burn them. How did that happen? Because it's very easy not to print sequentially than to print sequentially. So on what basis or what really happened that occasioned the Eastern, the voter region situation? We have an issue where ballots meant for Nkoko had seals destroyed. You get my point? And you ask yourself, how were they able to destroy these seals? Seals that are supposed to be so intact. And the current situation. Mind you, in the early days of this whole enterprise, the Electoral Commissioner, in spite of the fact that she had budgeted for an indelible ink, told us that she was not going to use it. And that it will, what do you call it, dirty our fingers. I don't know whether Jane Adukwe-Mensah sought permission for me that I've been having problems with inking my finger. So you ask yourself, what was the motivation in budgeting for an ink, but later coming to tell us that there was no need to use an ink? You remember the issue of registration and data. Today we register 25,000. She comes to tell us 29,000. The day we register 43,000, she says 49,000. All these are adding up. Now bring the final voter register, it becomes an issue. Back and forth. Then we later identify that people have been transferred illegally from Tamale Central and Sanarigu to Pusiga. when we asked them, they said there was an absence of a particular program called liveliness. Now you ask yourself, how many of such programs are absent that will cause a political party or a candidate to manipulate using the Electoral Commission officers? Now if you want to assure the people that you are so fair, you are unbiased, you are not doing anything in cahoot with the government of the day, then you ask yourself what has happened to all those that have been involved in the attempt to shortchange the good people of this country. The person that was involved in Pusiga issue is walking freely. Recently, they went and arrested a lunatic at in Sawam that he was the one having the BV. Did you believe that? Did you believe in that?
Well,
even assuming that the person was the one involved, what has happened to him?
But initially, they said it was a staff and a national service person who had connived and taking the machines, and later on came to say that was
this election, if Ghanaians, every Ghanaian does not turn himself into an agent, what I see from the realm is not good. You can sign all the peace pact you have in this world, but when the fundamentals are weak, troubles will expose you at the polling stations. Where I sit, I see the elections being done on different dates. Quote me anywhere. It could happen that not all the constituencies in this country will do the election on the 7th of December.
The whole process is going to be dragged.
Absolutely. Because you see, we have 5 days into an election. We are now printing Eastern and Western again.
Special votes.
Special votes. Now what is going to happen is that now candidates, we have instructed all our agents across the 16 regions to go back and interrogate the ballots again. There is a likelihood that we may see anomalies. When it happens, it means the EC has to reprint those ballots. Wouldn't it have an effect on the election? So when we are sometimes advising the Electoral Commission, they must take it in good faith. They must take it in good faith, because when you organize a credible election, it goes to the credit of you, the organizers, and the country as a whole. Now you cannot assure that. And that is why in each of their statements, you hear them saying that we are a credible institution, we are going to organize free, fair election. Anytime they come out with that statement, something pops up the next day for them to come out and apologize. You get my point? So I am not, and it fits into what is happening in Namibia. It's a very common feature on our continent, not just our continent, even in the United States, the last elections involving Trump. It was established that they were also having a worse system there. But because we have been telling them America, because the love for power, people have seen that given the power, they will not work. And that they can use other shortcuts to win the same power. And that is why if you don't stop that and encourage politicians to use shortcuts to ascend to the throne of any presidency, all of us will have ourselves to blame. This morning, I want to admonish those going to vote in the special voting, the security agencies, the journalists, the health professionals, to take one thing or have one thing at the back of their mind, that whether or not this country will develop depends on what they are going to do this morning. They are opening the march for all of us. Their judgment must have at the underpinning their judgment must be the lawful country,
right,
and nothing else. All of us are going to the same market, the same Balabata, the same La Paz, the same Abubulushi, and we are all faced with the same hardships. And so they must vote and vote wisely and vote for a government of national unity headed by Mr. Lanchamante. And all of them will be at peace. So you see,
okay,
I will not, as it were, begrudge the opposition in Namibia. they have seen their votes or the election being rigged, daylight, and they are doing the right thing. You know, just like what I'm predicting in Ghana, they are doing the elections. As we speak, people are even voting.
Right.
And how can you account for such? And always you say affirmative action. We must give the women the chance to also lead. We gave the men the opportunity.
It doesn't mean every woman is like
How
it.
can you be
Like
sure?
the conversation we're having this morning. I was telling him that politicians are the same and that he should give me reasons why.
You are right. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that every woman will behave like that.
Exactly.
I agree with you. But what I'm saying is that in a world which is dominated by men, if few women get opportunity, there should be a shining example so that it will encourage the male-dominated world to consider women. But if we give you, and we are even making an input. Look, Afarijan was walking about without military men protecting him. I've said countless occasions that anytime I see Jane Mensah with military, agree with me. Because then she doesn't have any, as it were, freedom. It shouldn't happen like that. It's an election that we are all going to express our views, opinion by voting. Ghana will still go on. No matter who is the president, no Allah is going to be the president. When he wins, he can't change the citizenship of Derek. Neither can he change that of Mazouk. He will not get up early morning and go move from house to house and be giving money to. No president or no candidate on that ballot can do that. That is why we need a leader whose policies will only create that enabling environment for all of us to survive. And you cannot shortchange us by giving us. So they will want to rig, but Ohemaa, I can assure you that if anybody make the mistake to want to challenge himself to engage in this rigging business. Hey!
All right, now we're talking about Ghana's election as you know, we are heading towards election 2024 and you know, comparing it to happenings in Namibia, and if that may be a story after voting. But Dr. Marazuk has joined us in the studio, and we want to say a big good morning to you, Dr. Marazuk. Thank you for coming. Are you well?
I'm well.
How's it going?
Thank you. Always going very well. Yes.
Can see the smiles on your face.
Yes. There's an adage in Arabic that whatever the situation, you must be thankful to Allah. So ala kulli hal falillahi alhamd. So I'm well.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. Right. But because of time, we would have to rope you in the next topic, which is which has to do with the Electoral Commission still. But let me read some messages on our Facebook Live. This one's coming from Musa Abatwa. He says, good morning, Ohemaa. A big thank you to the people of Kumasi for the love and support shown to John Mahama. His call to the security services voting today to consider the hardships Ghanaians face and make wise decisions is admirable. His promise to establish 5 banks to support businesses, clear goods at the port, and stabilize the city shows his commitment to revitalizing the economy. Together, we can build a better Ghana. Change is coming. My regards to Julius Deborah. Okay. Thank you, Musa Abatwa. This one also from Mahamadou Fusaini. He says, good morning, Ohemaa. There are many reasons why this government needs to go. Corruption, bad governance, and poor policy implementations are just a few examples. The e-levy and LGBTQ issues are also major concerns. But what's even more alarming is the government's inaction on Galamsey, which has destroyed our water bodies and environment. Despite the Vice President's silence on the matter, government appointees are still involved in Galamsey. It's shocking that their main priority is winning elections without addressing this critical issue. We are literally sitting on a time bomb, and it could take decades to clean up the damage. So, let's make our voices heard and vote for John Dramani Mahama and the National Democratic Congress today, 2nd, and on 7th for good governance and development. All right, thank you. I'll be taking more messages in the course of our conversation, but let's just move to our second topic for discussion, which has to do with the Electoral Commission still, and the very fact that the special voting in Eastern Region and Western Region have been rescheduled, exercise to go on in just 14 regions. Let me look for the story. I think it's on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, today's edition, right here. Just a background to it, and we can move on with the conversation. It says the Electoral Commission has rescheduled the special voting exercise for the Eastern and Western regions from today to Thursday, December 5, 2024, due to the recall of printed ballot papers for the two regions. Reprinting of the ballot papers for the two regions was scheduled to commence last night. The recall of the printed ballots and reprinting of ballots for the two regions were sanctioned by the EC in consultation with the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, after it was detected that a single defaced ballot paper earmarked for destruction had found its way out of the Checkpoint Limited printing house, according to the EC. Speaking, right, so that's the background to it. So the following statements has to do with Jean Mensah and what she had to say. But how did the ballots find its way out of, that's an interesting one to know. How did the ballot find its way out of the printing press? And also in this material moment, is it the right time to reschedule voting, you know, to just elongate the whole process? Is it not a bit cumbersome? Dr. Marazuka, I'll start with you.
Good morning to the cherished viewers, and special good morning to my colleagues. It's laughable, very laughable, because it is an amalgamation of high degree of pessimism and low degree of optimism. And I'll tell you why I've mentioned optimism. I want to believe that my colleagues may not even agree with me when I mention optimism, but I will justify that. High level of pessimism. Pessimism because at this critical juncture, we do not expect the Electoral Commission to preside over these avoidable anomalies, because they are avoidable. And we should all be guided by our own history. African democratic history is replete with election-related cases of violence. From Namibia, from Kenya to La Côte d'Ivoire, you can have so many cases of violence, and therefore we should be guided by that. Again, the Fourth Republic has been in practice for more than 3 decades. We should have learned from all these things. Again, we are operating in an era of digitalization. I think those tools should help us to avoid all these anomalies. I'm going to mention another one that almost every Ghanaian has been oblivious of, and that is very critical. We need to mention that, and that is about the cyber security. Because whatever we are witnessing here is about physical anomaly. What happens to the digital anomaly or the cyber security? What is the guarantee that the data will be secured to the extent that no one will be given the opportunity to use any form of statistical gymnastics to subvert the will of the people? I think this is a very big question. If physical things, if hard copies can be manipulated or can be subjected to these anomalies, what happens to the digital data? What happens to the data that will be stored? What happens to the number of people who have voted? What happens to the cyber data? And what is the level of the strength of the cyber security being employed by the Electoral Commission? I think these are issues that should also be matters of concern to Ghanaians. First of all, I'm saying optimism because, yes, at least, one, there is hope that we have been able to identify the anomalies. Two, the EC hasn't been so arrogant to dismiss them. The EC has been humbled enough to accept them. The EC is collaborating, because according to the story, the EC is collaborating with all the relevant institutions involved in the electoral process to rectify the anomaly. These are areas of hope. But in the first place, that kind of pessimism, that kind of anomaly shouldn't have even happened at this time. So it is important for Ghanaians to understand that the EC, in my own estimation, has not been careful enough. It has not been meticulous enough. It has not been I'm very cautious of my diction because we are in a very critical time.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can be indicted for the least thing you say.
Not even indicted. I don't fear the indictment. No. What I fear is to use a word that will cause public uproar or that will inject fear into the electoral process. That's all that way. Because I want the politicians to enjoy. I want the politicians to be faithful to Mother Ghana. So I wouldn't join them in making certain statements that are not in the interest of the Republic of Ghana. So the EC should know that currently, as we are speaking, it has failed in the preliminary issues. Whether the EC will learn from the failure and do the right thing during the election is another matter. And I want to believe that the EC will be guided by all these bitter experiences so that at the end of the day we will have a credible election that will reflect the true will of the people. The EC hasn't been able to handle the things very well because of what is happening. You agree with me that why should a very dependable printing house face such a problem? And in any case, how was that printing house selected? And what background checks were conducted to establish the credibility of that printing house? I am not questioning the printing house. I am questioning the misconduct of the printing house. So all these things should have been established. And if the printing house still has any iota of credibility, it should come out to tell us why, and even its own internal investigation establish why such things have happened. And the EC may not have any evil agenda, may not have any evil agenda, but the impression that it is in bed with a certain political party, it has something to hide, has been created. And one thing negative about the impression is that it needn't be true. Once it is a negative impression, it has a negative impact. You don't need to verify it. And that is why I am appealing to the EC. So let's say, well, we still have time, 5 days to the election, there is still more time. I strongly believe that the EC, if it means well, can still correct the prevailing anomalies and prevent future ones. The EC should position itself strategically to be proactive rather than reactive. Because if you are proactive, you are definitely solving only one issue. But if you are reactive, you are dealing with two issues. One, the issue that you are responding to, and two, searching for solution to that issue. And that is why it is not good to be reactive. I think the EC still has a substantial period of time to be proactive, to prevent the recurrence of the anomalies that we are witnessing, which have the potential to undermine the integrity of the electoral process. Let the EC learn from these anomalies, and I'm appealing to Ghanaians to still cooperate with the EC in spite of all the suspicions, so that at the end of the day, we will have an election that will reflect the true will of the people of Ghana and raise Ghana to another pedestal of democratic consolidation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marion Solo.
This Electoral Commission, unfortunately, I will not be magnanimous like how... And I can understand Doc, he's a neutral person. He wants to always, as it were, relax or calm nerves so that you operate in an atmosphere of peace. But you see, peace, there can never be peace without justice. On this simple matter alone, there has to be justice. If you have ever visited any of the printing houses before, you would know that there is a presence of the national security, presence of the Bureau of National Investigation, NIB, National Investigative Bureau. There is a presence of the Electoral Commission. There is a presence of the police. You can even take out the agents, because you see, I am not happy that we are making agents the subject matter, or we are pushing every responsibility that is supposed to be borne by the EC and state apparatus onto the shoulders of agents. It shouldn't be so. We must have truthful institutions in our part of the world. How is it that we have national security, and this matter borders on national security? We have the National Investigative Bureau, we have the Electoral Commission, we have the police, and above all, we have CCTV cameras. Yet this thing penetrated. So why is it that at this stage we are not calling all those representatives of these institutions to come and answer to the people of this country? Or better still, I'm sure by now they would have destroyed the footages of the CCTV. Because you see, the EC has told us that their systems are so robust, and if you say your system is robust, it includes the institutions that are printing the ballots. And all that a political party needs is to get a sample of this ballot. Then they will just go and do it. Yeah, we have a lot of graphic designers. They will just go and design, give it to their printing house. And I can say that in this election, that is what other political parties intend to do. They want to have the ballot, particularly my people in the MPP. Go and manufacture their own serial numbers and find ways and means in introducing into the system. Because they have realized that Alan Chamantin is winning. You know why Dr. Mahmoud Baumia had to go back to the Ashanti? As we speak, he's in the Ashanti region. But Doc, this morning you give me an education about your religion. I need serious education. Because you see, this religious gymnastics is becoming one too many. You are a Muslim. Being a Muslim is a fine religion. It's a faith that you believe in. You don't have to be a symbol of a faith and at the same time bastardize that faith. Yesterday, or around the evening, to my surprise, I saw our vice president in a church being prayed to, and he was given some white cloth wrapped around his head. And finally, what shocked me, Doc, was that he, together with the Osofu, the pastor, went under the cloth, covered. Were they kissing or they were doing what? By Christ me!
It's not LGBT.
That is why they have not signed the bill. You see now, things are adding up. You and the Osofu.
So there was no evidence to the fact that they were kissing.
And there was no evidence to the fact that they were not kissing. So what's the point? Osofu went
Negative impression.
Can you imagine?
It needn't be true.
That has a negative impact.
And let me tell you, at this stage, that I have decided to go and vote for Alan Chamantin. What sort of prayer in that church will change my mind? I have made my mind. Myself, my wife, my brothers and sisters, we are all going to vote for Allah. What sort of prayer will change it? But he conveniently went under the cloth with the Osofu alone. What happened there? It needs national investigation. You see why? They won't sign the LGBTQ. Two men in the cloth. How do you answer for that? So clearly, it means
it's a spiritual exercise.
Which one is a spiritual? We were created in his own image. We are all spiritual beings. Let me tell you, we are all spiritual beings.
No, but even Jesus, he performed some of his miracles with certain,
And I'm saying that the same Bible tells you that you were created in his own image. It means you are like Jesus. You are
God, actually, yeah.
The people that are praying for, are they not human like us? Who told you they have spirit more than you? Who told you? That if the spirit is available, they must use that spirit to be praying to eliminate or eradicate poverty in this country. Poverty is our number one cause of all the sins. If someone goes and steal plantain, it's poverty. Akoko is poverty. Sheep is poverty. Why don't we deal with that issue? So he has gone back to the Ashanti region. But let me assure Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he can even sleep in the Ashanti region. It won't work.
With a pastor.
With a pastor.
It means soapy.
That is where we are going to.
That can be. Because I mean, everybody's eyes were on them.
But did you see what happened in the court? No, you have to interrogate me.
Do you have that video?
No, we don't have the video.
I'm very surprised that this morning.
If you could be kind to show us the video.
If your producers, I don't want people to listen to me as I'm churning out an abstract. Let's watch it. And all of us will analyze the video.
Frank, if you have the video, please put it across. And
the people were kissing from my lenses.
No, but no, it can't be.
But why did they cover themselves?
Let's see the video.
But it also, it's tantamount to...
Soapy.
No, please.
The law should have worked if they had signed. You know why they didn't sign? Immediately, the law would have worked.
So what if just two of them were locked in a room and they were praying?
That one is not, but this one to the full glare. Under the cloth. What were they doing there?
What were they hiding?
You see, this is a clash.
That's serious.
This is a clash between religion and science, or between ordinary reasoning and spiritual reasoning.
This one goes ordinary and spiritual is telling me that something went.
No, but you know, usually spiritual things are not logical.
But do you know there was something also?
Spiritual things are logical.
Not all the time, Sulu.
No,
you agree with me.
Look,
They're not
spiritual
all
things,
they are logical.
very logical.
They are logical,
I don't
but you see, let me explain
Not
something.
all the time.
No, let me explain.
There are
certain things that are spiritual and you cannot make meaning out
You mean it
of.
was a spiritual kiss?
No, you see, we have to establish the fact that they kissed.
Okay,
So let us analyze the
Watch
video.
the video, but so please carry on.
So what I'm saying,
I think Solo has made it clear that one, we don't know whether there's no evidence to suggest that they kissed.
No.
There's no also evidence to suggest
No,
that they
he's
did not
insisting
kiss.
that they kissed. And there's no evidence that they did not kiss.
there are two scenarios here.
I think he has
And I'm going with the other scenario. It could be possible.
when you raise that,
The man says it is possible. So
when you counted Solo, he said, well, he stands by his thinking that they kiss. You are saying that they did not because there's no evidence. But he accepted that in both cases there's no evidence.
Okay.
There's no evidence. And that's exactly what we got. I definitely will not think that he kissed. I know that we will not.
Of course.
I will not.
Especially with the very fact that all eyes are on you, they are
But they covered themselves. They were in chamber.
No, but we can make inferences from even the posture.
You are making inference. I'm making inference.
Please find the video.
You are not ready to accept my inference.
So logic and religion. All religions are true, but they are not factual.
There's a truth and there's a fact. Yes.
The truth is believed without any scientific justification. The fact is believed with scientific justification. Facts are things that can be established by scientific means. For example, belief in God is true. It is true because we are Muslims or Christians, so we don't see, we cannot establish the existence of God. But no, please. So because we cannot establish the existence of God, and we know that our religions are true, so we believe in that. But belief in, in the case of fact, if you say that when you drink poison you will die, scientific analysis will tell you that these substances are used to produce the poison, and therefore those substances are deadly. If you take the poison you will die. That's a matter of fact. Right. So in religion we separate true from fact, and anything that is not verifiable but believed by people based on their religion is true.
Right.
Anything that is verifiable and believed or disbelieved is a fact.
Right. Doc, thank you for that education. So in this context,
simplify it for us.
yeah, in this context,
Pork.
I don't eat pork.
You don't eat pork. Why?
Yeah, I
Because
don't-
you're Muslim.
I don't eat pork. No, I don't eat one. I don't eat pork for so many reasons.
Okay,
for
but-
spiritual reasons,
Yes.
for personal reasons, for social
Healthy
reasons.
Do you drink
Yes.
pork soup?
Are you interrogating me?
Because
I'm not the subject matter of
he wants
interrogation.
to make another allegation.
There's another lie.
So he's leading you to make that
But
establishment.
should I be used as a subject matter of
No,
Yeah.
around this table.
Yeah.
Should I be used?
No, I wanted to establish the facts
Yes.
and
The truth.
the truth.
But don't bring me
And
to the
you,
picture.
no, the fact
So
is that
don't
you don't
needed an
don't-
explanation. He didn't bring me to the picture. So just ask me now.
No, you're the only allergy on this table.
So let me explain. Yes.
So you don't eat pork, you don't drink pork soup.
Yes.
Another allergy that's everything else beyond the Muslim faith. And yesterday's example is one clear one.
So
They went, they
why
sprayed
do you
cash. They sprayed a lot of cash.
Yeah.
That in itself is a big issue. But it's been overtaken by the spiritual case under the cloth.
That isn't
video-
factual. That isn't factual.
So who is that allergy? Anyway, you're
But-
another allergy. Who is
So
that?
let me
So Solo has to conclude and then
Who is that allergy? No, but you have made a
Well, I was in the.
the doc has buttressed your point with the truth and the facts.
So what I'm
Conclude
saying
for
is
us.
that
Yeah.
several candidates, presidential candidates, have visited this very church. None of them went into a clothing meeting with the man. So you leave us with no option than to conclude that one of the two possibilities happened, which in my view, they kissed.
No, Solo.
Now, as we speak, my brother Papa J in Timpani, who is watching, is saying that the voting exercise is going on in Timpani with some challenges.
What challenges did he?
Some are not seeing their names readily available. Yes, so I believe that it has to be solved amicably.
Right.
You know, we don't want confusion. As I'm sitting here, I have my children here. I'll be the last person to call for confusion in this country. Well, if there is confusion here, which country? Those countries that they don't respect my color. Europe or America.
Right.
So I want to admonish the Electoral Commission that in these last few days, whatever promise any individual contesting election has given them, they should think about the future of this country and do what is right. Behave in the national interest. Because even if anybody has promised you 13 trillion, I'm telling you, you may not live to see it. Because there's so much tension down there. But the people of this country, I know, will speak and speak loudly, and then we will be fine. By the 8th of December, there will be a declaration,
Right.
and Allah will come in so that all this tension will reduce it.
Thank you
for the
very much,
betterment of
Solo.
the-
Now,
as my brother is
before
in
I
the
bring
position, he doesn't have a problem.
Mr. Derek J in, there's some interesting comments coming through on our Facebook Live. You can join us live on Facebook and send your messages via there, or you can send your messages via the numbers that will be displayed on the screens. This one's from Yusuf Mohammed. He says, "Good morning, Ohemaa. We have been told that the EC has recruited many well-known MPP sympathizers to be presiding officers at the polling stations. If this is anything to come by, then our elections is jeopardized. The polling agents of political parties should be very vigilant and avoid unfortunate happenings in the voting." Okay, very interesting one. This one also from David Bli Nate Tokoli. "Greetings, watching you live from Maryland, USA. There is a sinister motive by the EC to rig the elections for the NPP. Those ballot papers are in their rooms. Ghana's democracy is in danger in the hands of these criminals." Okay, thank you, David. This final one also from, no, there are two actually. "Good morning. I'm monitoring live from Tamale. Thank you. Please greet Hajj Misbahu, Captain Incoming MP. My name is Mohammed. All right. Thank you, Mohammed.
Incoming MP for where?
Mion.
Yeah, you should add there. I mean, if you are doing adverts, you do it for
Yeah. Okay, so this one says, Ohemaa, the EC's incompetence is legendary. Following series of errors we continue to witness. No wonder Jane Mensah declared the 2020 presidential results more than 5 times and failed to account to Ghanaians by climbing the witness box according to the justices on human rights grounds. All right, these are the messages coming through. We're also looking forward to more of the messages, and we'll keep reading them in the course of our conversation. But let me come to Mr. Derek J on this subject matter of the, Eastern region, Western region voting scheduled to the 4th or 5th.
That's on top of the Volta and other ones that are in the major election. And even there's one very difficult situation to swallow. Some ballots are supposed to be printed by David Asante. You know David Asante?
Yes, Ghana Publishing.
Yes, David Asante is the NPP parliamentary candidate for Sawam.
He contested as aspirant, but he didn't win in Ngoko.
No. They have thrown somebody out and fixed him there.
No, the man was sick in Ngoko.
Yes,
but he later on the doctors claimed.
Let me hear you. Are you saying that he has a printing house?
He's the managing director of a printing house.
Ghana Publishing.
Yes.
Publishing company.
Yes. You see, the same person in the 2020 election, he's supposed to be the one gazetting the results. And when the EC was giving multiple election results, there was a contestation. And then there was a certain weekend window that was created before you could say Jack. They had hardly, done something to cover up. I mean, this guy is a protege of Akufo-Addo, at least his own words. And so some people must necessarily resign when they declare their intention, especially in very serious. Otherwise, we all know where Bosman, Asante, and that's this line. And why are we calling for them to be exiting? Because they are partisan through and through, and we know where they stand. So such a person should not be heading such an institution, even though it may be a state institution. He may not be the one actually, printing. But we saw also what happened in Ejusu in 2020, where ballot papers were found in large quantities on rapid dumps and stuff, not bent, but with printed, sections for the MPP. What is happening right now? I'm not saying anybody is going to call for the election to be, annulled at some point. We are all going to go in there and ensure that at the polling station, the time that is allocated for, verifying the ballots when they are brought in, the agents are allowed to, as it were, validate whatever materials are brought. There must be an extension of that time because we cannot be sure that the things that were sent to the police armory are the same things that have been brought. Because some things were sent to the police armory only to come out with seals off. We've seen things happening, printing houses with all the security, and still the ballot papers are finding their way out. And these are the ones that have been found, though. What about the things that we are yet to find out? So let us extend the period. Let us allow all the media houses, they are the real policemen in the system. All media, there should be no restriction. All media houses must be allowed access to every polling station, because that's where the mischief can start and the election can't even be halted.
But they did a pilot of that at Ejusu. In Ejusu, they restricted media houses, selected few of them, and all of them came out with the same results. I can tell you that the Ejusu by-election, Ebiomi never lost that election. So it's a pilot.
Yes, just like they did Ayawaso against 2020. Now, we are saying that...
So there was no difference, like not even...
No, all of them had the same figures.
Figures.
You see, I remember in 2008, there was some attempt by some media houses to syndicate their results. We kept catching them until finally the right results were declared in favor of Mr. Mills. and it led to the removal of one GBC staff, Raymond Bully.
Yeah.
Remember that incident? We are going to be extremely vigilant, but we want to ask all Ghanaians, because Ghana is for all Ghanaians, so it's not for NDC, MPP, and the people who are contesting. If Ghana bends, it's all of us.
Yes, the movement.
Exactly.
Yes,
It's all of us who lose.
they want to discount the movement.
No. Today I said I'm wearing yellow in alliance.
So what I show you also
Is that the alliance must end under the umbrella. So the message is very clear, and he's accepted it. So we all understand us.
I will fight you.
Good, very good. So
Right. Please wrap up for us.
Ghanaians must not only come out in their numbers and stay at the police. Nobody should go home. Look,
Why not?
nobody. There's no law that says when you vote, go home. It is nowhere.
But it is just for the sanity of
No.
you know, the whole purpose.
Is there sanity at the printing press? Is there sanity at the printing press?
I mean, it's an
Is there
institution.
sanity at the police armory?
But everybody can't be at the police. Exactly.
Should everybody be at the police armory?
No.
That's why they are polling agents. They are there to represent the interests of the people.
Are you going to
I
the
should put my trust in the Kwadonko's agents.
No, but your agents is
Your
there.
agents is there.
Every party is equally represented.
No.
And the
I'm
polling
not speaking for
station.
myself as an NDC person. I'm talking of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Yes.
That should they put their, faith, hope, their whole destiny. Look.
But every party is equally represented.
Hold on. You're talking about political parties. I'm saying the ordinary Ghanaian need not belong to a political party.
So how do they vote?
Hold on.
But every candidate is,
you're not
a
understanding.
representation of a certain political party.
I'm not speaking for.
Or a certain movement.
You see how difficult it is to be.
No. I'm saying that I am speaking for the ordinary Ghanaian within the context of voting on 7th December.
Yeah.
They have a date with destiny.
Yeah.
They are voting for their future.
Yes.
They are voting for a change in their
So
circumstances.
they should be orderly and voting.
So
they should be orderly.
So they need not rely on my agents because I said my.
So what is
They need not rely-
the difference that their presence is going to make at the polling station?
I'll tell you now. I'll tell you what.
No, but
first thing.
it wouldn't be advisable.
It's not advisable.
Are you going to be at the police station?
When the people
When I go to my house. Why shouldn't I go to my house?
So listen carefully.
Why must you go for easy to
But it is there to do their job. Whoever I voted for has a representation.
Even the people that we had, DC officials there, camera, national security, police, NIB, and so on.
So
we
no
are still being
matter how
careful.
apolitical I am, whoever I'm voting for is a representation of a certain political party. And so by extension, they have a representation there.
That's an assumption.
Yeah.
Some political parties have no agents. That's a fact. It's the major political parties and a few of the others who have agents there. So your thing is not factual.
But we did the nice to observe the whole process till evening.
At a safe distance. No, listen,
don't have the
listen.
time.
You see,
I'll be here reporting.
no, that's you.
So that is you. That's why I say
That's you as a
you
politician. I'm talking about the Ghanaian who is not a politician.
Going by your
Is
principle,
not aligned to
going by
any-
your principle,
Now, let me-
should all Ghanaians, I will not allow you, see, you've been doing that to me, so today I have decided to. Anyway,
Don't come in with your rebuttals. Let me hear what you have to say.
So you are ganging up.
I want to hear what Doc has to say. Okay. Please wrap up.
because it's a prince, you know.
So here is what it is.
Only prince.
Every Ghanaian is guaranteed a right to vote under the constitution if you've attained the age of voting and so on and so forth. You don't need to belong to a political party or have affiliations, etc. to vote. You have a right to have your vote secured.
Yeah.
And the EC has not been able to secure any of its own processes. It's not been able to deal with its timelines. It is introducing new things that are causing further confusion. The last election cycle, 2020, they introduced the regional election coalition center thing as another add-on to allow for them to rig. This time around, they are introducing a new thing they are calling coalition officer, who is going to be given a laptop, possibly with Excel, to do the tabulation. Now, we all know Excel. You are literate. We are all literate around this table. Excel allows you to calculate. First, we were using Corel Draw. You remember when we were doing the...
How can you use Corel Draw?
We were using Corel Draw to do calculation. nonsense.
Tabulation,
But
yeah.
when they're caught and all that, now they said they are going to the Excel. But we also know that Excel, you can embed formulas.
Of course.
So if I put a formula in the Excel software that the person is using, that when you mention the results, so when you type 5 in the column of, let's say, CPP,
it should reduce by 4 to this
it
side.
should reduce by 1 and add the 1 to NPP.
It's a formula.
At the end of the day, the total will still be the same total that you want. So 100 people have voted. So if you look at the overall total, there will not be overvoting. However, they would have been able to manipulate, and that's where he was talking about the the cyber end of it. Yeah. But this one is not even so much cyber. This is just plain mischief, stealing, and thievery, which can be checked at the polling station. Now, if the NDC agents, who we have well trained and are able to challenge them, they will say it's an NDC MPP EC matter. No, we have trained our people well, so it should not be up to NDC to defend everybody. If Ekwadonko or whoever else doesn't have a good, it should not be the bane of Ghanaians. You have a calculator, you know that. Your phone has a calculator. Most Ghanaians, almost every Ghanaian has a calculator. You are very good in maths. I've interacted with you for a little bit. I know he's also good in maths. There are thousands of professors, there are thousands of very little people in every community. They should all be at the polling station. When the thing is mentioned, you also key it in. If we see disparities, people will raise their hands and say,
so we can't rely on the media. We would rather be at the polling station.
Media should rely on someone like Paul Admochi.
Wait. Say that we can't rely on
You think that
so you can't rely on me?
No, hold on.
You can't rely on me?
No, you I can rely on, but the letter you are not all the
We will not rely on this.
So you have to come. You have to campaign on that.
The EC is saying that they want to restrict the media.
That
they
is-
have their
that is
people select the
unacceptable.
media people that they think.
Yeah,
I think that is
we should look at EC.
that's
We will not allow them to cheat.
actually.
So, look,
Acceptable.
every Ghanaian can be a citizen journalist.
Yeah.
Journalism is an open profession. Everybody can, on 7th December, become a journalist. We are all good with our phones.
Yes.
Even some young phones have calculators.
Let's calculate along.
Let's all go and start there. We'll have a blackboard. Me, I'll donate blackboards there's a police station in Asoma.
There's calculation.
I think you should use marker boards.
No. We want blackboard.
No,
We want to
chalk.
do no, chalk. You haven't touched chalk. So that the thing will be big there. When they finish, we all agree that, okay, by consensus, all those with this calculators, we've all agreed that 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Not what the EC person is saying is equal to 4. Hey, EC is not 4.
Sometimes 1 plus 1 can even be 11.
Yes, so when we have consensus, then we write it on the board and compare with what the patient to be.
It's very progressive. It's a progressive suggestion.
When you want to beat
But
when you want to beat the cyber manipulations of the EC, go very fundamental.
Yeah.
The blackboard, what can the EC do? They'll use what?
Mr. Derek,
Internet to
Mr.
change the result.
I do not, I'm not even, in doubt of what you're saying. It's a very progressive thing to do. However, there are downsides to it.
Is it not the chaos?
Yes.
Oh, really? There can be chaos whether 10 people are there, even just agents. There can be chaos.
Then it will be best to handle. But then if everybody is there, now people get sentimental, then other things are creeping in.
At the same distance. First, you see, they will not be counting from the first minute. The first things that happen at on election day is the verification of the voting material. Okay, and that is very, very important. In the statistics that they refuse to give when the NDC asks for the statistics at the polling station, etc., regional level and so on. They just give the bulk total, and that is where they were hoping to cheat with these ballot manipulation. Because when they come, you have to look at the serial numbers in the space of 30 minutes. You think that you can go through all the booklets and see the serial numbers? How vigilant can you be? Do you understand? So we need ample time for those things to happen. In fact, a day to the time. And I think that is what will save us from the chaos. Right. A day to the time should be devoted to these things being cross-checked in the face of these new developments that are becoming. Yeah. And I think you are with me. Yeah. All the political parties should accept that right of theirs that we should go into this election free, fair, and transparent. Because the EC is not transparent. The election is already being rigged with the ballots that are being done. Everything points to the fact that they want to rig for MPP. So let us set aside the 6th of December for the rechecking of ballots and so on, and be sure that everything is fine. Then at least on the day of the 7th, we can now use the 30 minutes or so to check and be sure that it's still fine. Then we start the process. Then from that time till 5, when the counting is done, people can be there, maybe a small number, who would also have their eyes. It's like CCTV cameras. And they'll be also giving you information. They'll be having the media. How many personnel do you have? You cannot have enough personnel to go around the whole country. 40,000 you don't have. So you have agents freelancing for you. They'll be sending you live reports, situational reports, and you can have on your codes that they can be sending the thing. Video, live. Then you stream it. Once you verify, you stream it. Then at 5 o'clock, the masses count along. 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 1. 2 plus 2, 22. 2 plus 2, 22. We all agree. We all agree. 1 plus 1, 11.
Someone go slap.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's progressive. But we are hard pressed with time. It's getting very insightful and interactive here. This is still Good Morning Africa on Pan-African Television. This is the newspaper review segment, and my panelists are absolutely amazing on here on the show. But I think we have an issue with our WhatsApp, and so you can watch us live on Facebook and keep sending your messages. They've started hacking. They've started hacking the system. Now I have an interesting one. This one says, "Hi Ohemaa. The Jisonaili Market project in Tamale is a clear example of the current government's lack of transparency. Vice President Baumia commissioned the project, but is still under construction."
Is that near Pualugu?
Yeah,
the reason I'm asking is that the Pualugu dam is.
Despite this, it's been. It says that despite this, it's been declared complete, which raises serious concerns. Who's being deceived? The journalists, the cameras, or the entire nation? Well, interesting. Says, "Good morning, Ohemaa." Okay, repeated the same. Okay, so Gloria Innocent says, "Good morning, brethren. I've observed over the period that some of us have taken this whole politics in Ghana as our football team we support or the family we belong and are prepared to defend it through thick and thin. Let's remember that nobody is interested in a political party once we find ourselves outside the shores of Ghana. This week is another opportunity God is giving us to make a choice of another leadership to transform this nation. We can choose to harden our hearts to vote having our political party perceived family in mind and bear the consequences in the years to come. Or we can be discerning and consider Mother Ghana as our family to make the right choice. For those of us who call ourselves Christians and believe in accountability, let's remember that we will be accountable for this very important decision that will transform this country, or otherwise one day the choice is ours." And these are the messages coming through.
I love this message.
Yeah. It is in your. Yeah.
Yes.
It's in line with you. But okay, thank God. Our WhatsApp has been restored now. Okay. I think it's refreshing, but while it's refreshing, we'll just take a quick message from you and then we wrap up. We are almost, our time is just.
You want us to deal with the alliance, the leader of the alliance first?
Yeah.
Okay, so as the leader of the alliance,
I'll start with the leader of the
alliance.
I read the message. Just quick
solidarity with.
Quick message. We couldn't do our third and fourth stories, but I think the extension of this second story, goes a long way, and it's material to, the times we are in. Two stories, and we have just 5 minutes to wrap up.
What was those two?
That is the story captured by the Inside newspaper.
So you have 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
So I can
what was
afford.
the story? What was the story?
State capture by Nanado.
So I can afford
the
to speak for 1 minute, and I will give the 2 minutes to the politician.
Okay.
So you speak.
So we should do two.
So he will wrap it up for us.
I think we all agree that 9 out of 10 Ghanaians believe that Ghana is going in the wrong direction, as confirmed by the CDD's Afrobarometer, and that would definitely include the NPP members who know that there's indeed been state capture We've seen what Ken Ofori-Atta alone has done in the financial sector, having taken over everything in the financial space, having even put employees of his data bank in every, financial, at the helm of every, organization. Then Gabi also having taken over national security using his, Dankwa Institute. The BNI boss is a director. They've even infiltrated the MPP with, what's his name? The spokesperson, what's his name? Achiaa. Every space that is available. Then just take everybody in the president's family. They've used Galamsey also to deal with us on the mines area. They started with the Japan minerals royalties, and then they, divested corruption to allow for everybody else to, pitch in, as in all the appointees. So everybody has gotten their share of at least the cake in terms of Ghana's wealth. But last but not the least, they've dealt with my lands. They've stolen my lands. And that one, I want to entreat everybody, not just the Gadambi people. They've stolen Ashanti lands. They've stolen northern lands. Everywhere they've stolen lands, have this in mind, that President John Dramani Mahama has indicated that he would institute a commission of inquiry into all the stolen lands and ensure that they are retrieved and given to the rightful owners. 2, that all the plunderers of the state assets, that's those who have captured the state, they will be investigated. All the corrupt people, they will be arrested, prosecuted. The assets will be taken over from them. Is that a witch hunt?
Witch hunting.
No, you see, Ghana is not broke. Ghana's money is here. Ghana's wealth is here, and those who have stolen it.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Right,
so vote for John Mahama.
If we don't want witch hunting, there shouldn't be even witches.
Witches and wizards. You mean Zenapa is a witch?
Fellow Ghanaians, we have only 5 days to election. You have cried for far too long. Remember, this is the only government that...
Remember, I thought you were going to say Nako. Remember me.
This is the only government that has brought so much hardship to the people of this country, to the extent that Roman Catholic Church, Accra Diocese, had to embark on a demonstration against the destruction of the environment. So I will be very surprised to see any Roman Catholic vote for the New Patriotic Party. Remember, this is the only government that has caused so much pain to our pensioners that extended their money by way of buying government bonds and stocks, out of which we are told by Dr. Michael Agyekum, may he so rest in peace, that 800 of his contemporaries are either dead or suffering from stroke. I will be very surprised to see any of these 800 elderly, together with their family members, go into the box and vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That would be disrespecting the memories of these people. This is the only government that has used our tax revenue to dig a big hole. They didn't even respect the chief imam. You donated 100,000. These people, when they are even chopping,
In the name of interfaith harmony.
Interfaith harmony, there's somebody did the hands into it and took the money away. I will be very surprised
So thank you.
to see anybody around the chief imam
And LGBTQ
Q plus vote for. So all I'm saying is that the teaming you that are not working, that you have been sending your CVs every morning to me, then now is the opportunity. First of all, visit www.3mjgh.com.
All right.
A digital platform that has been provided by Mr. Alan Chamanti. That just go and upload your CVs. Ours is not who you know. Ours.
chairman of the economic management.
Dr.
All right. So I think we need to take time
for.
for reading some of the messages. Thank you, Solo.
But who extended? This is a political season.
Yeah.
Extended by
I have to talk to my producer. So I think going on tomorrow.
You didn't start early.
Because
Because we didn't come
Look, every hour, every minute must be politics.
in. Yes.
yes.
The destiny of the country.
Absolutely.
You are
Thank
going
you
to play
very
music
For
after
the
this.
sake of
We won't play music.
for the sake of your
Play
unborn
jazz.
Don't play music. We are
for the sake of your
following.
unborn children.
We are following through with all the campaigns, the rallies, and all the political activities. All right, Dr. Mazu, please wrap up.
My brother, my sister, remember that our nation, the Ghanaian nation, is a civilized nation. The election 2024 should be seen as another opportunity for all of us Ghanaians to reaffirm our commitment to the consolidation of constitutional order and good governance. Therefore, irrespective of our partisan affiliations, let us all resolve to approach the elections with a high sense of peace in this country. Finally, we should stand by patriotism over partisanship. God bless our homeland, Ghana.
And make us great and strong. Thank you very much to... Thank you very much to my panelists. But Gloria Einison says, good morning, Solomon Owusu. Good job. Jobs for the people. Achiaa, a man with credibility, competence, integrity, vision, and action. What do Ghanaians want?
Oh, Gloria, what a beautiful word.
Reason up.
These are people that can move this country.
Yes. Good morning, JDM all the way. Alan is a transformational leader Ghana needs, and that's why I and my wife are voting for Nanayao.
Oh, may God bless Nanayao and the wife.
He says, I and my wife voted for MPP all our lives, and because Alan is the only hope on the ballot, I have convinced my wife for us to vote for Alan. Vote for change, vote Alan, vote Achiaa. All right, finally, this one says that, hi, Ohemaa, I'd like to use this platform to inform the NDC communicator that the party should organize transportation for us to travel and vote. I am currently in Dawenya, but my polling station is located in Ho. Okay.
It will be done.
So several people are coming through with Alan all the way, Alan all the way, Alan all the way.
It's a movement.
Coco, Stephen, Alan all the way. Best to lead. No. But you will bear with me that it has been very insightful and interactive here on the show. Absolutely amazing guests. Thank you very much, Mr. Derek J. Thank you, Solo. It's a movement today. And thank you, Dr. Marazuk, for your education on what was it again?
Pork soup.
No.
Facts and truth.
The facts and the
You
truth.
never showed the video.
Facts and the truth.
Yes,
Yes, they have the video, so they are going to play it after we sign out.
We
But
are waiting to watch it, like the police station.
we are waiting to watch
it.
Okay, please give us a few minutes, and then we'll watch the video and cover it.
Let's show the video in our
access.
Okay, please show the
They
video.
cannot count in our.
Please put the video on.
They cannot count the results.
Please put the video.
We are going to check.
Please put the video on.
Yes.
Thank you. Please put the video
so
on.
Yes.
After Mushu
We have to verify that.
It's a Mushu showcase.
Do you have the video, please? Yeah.
Watch it.
Look at the proximity. Look at the proximity. No, look at the proximity. This can be. The two of you have an accent. They are pulls apart. Look at the proximity. But anyway,
Their heads are
they are pulls apart. I agree. They are pulls apart. Look at the proximity. But anyway, it's been amazing here on the show. Thank you. Interfaith harmony. Thank you very much. This has been the newspaper review segment with me, Ohemaa and Agyekum. As we are heading towards the polls on December 7, do well to be a Ghanaian first before any other thing. Do not be an agent of violence or an agent of hell to instigate violence or any other thing that is going to disrupt our electoral processes.
Take your mobile phone along and calculate.
And calculate along. All right. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.